More than 4 hours after the historic Majestic Hotel goes up in flames, firefighters still working to put out the blaze. Good evening and thank you for watching tonight. I'm Christina Munoz.
And I'm Scott Inman. We are live just off of Park Avenue in the Spa City tonight, where, as you mentioned, Christina, the Majestic Hotel is still burning tonight, but it is somewhat contained. Now, the good news is we can tell you it was a vacant building. The bad news, of course, enormous historical significance to the city of Hot Springs. Many of our viewers will remember the Majestic Hotel in its heyday, but it's a sad ending for the hotel tonight. It had just recently been boarded up. It had been closed since 2006. Now, as far as what caused the fire, that will, of course, be under investigation over the coming days. We are joined right now by Hot Springs Fire Chief Ed Davis with a little bit more on this blaze. And first of all, I guess let's get the updated status, Chief, if you would, on is the fire somewhat contained at this hour?
Yes, sir. It's contained to the building of origin. You know, it's blacked out in most areas. You can see behind me, guys have done a really good job on working the perimeter of the building with the deluge sets, aerial devices and all. And we've been joined by Lake Hamilton Fire Department, one of our sister agencies in Garland County. 70 West Fire Department also who's given us assistance on this. But, you know, primarily we still have some fire burning in the rear of the building. We've had collapse of a large roof section in that portion. It's making kind of difficult to get to it.
You were telling me just how old this building is means that you're not going to risk any firefighter lives. Nobody has gone in the building tonight.
No, sir. The building was in very poor condition prior to the fire. And so, you know, we do pretty thorough building surveys in Hot Springs. And, you know, for this very reason, you know, pre-fire planning is very, very important. You fall back on that whenever you have a major disaster like this. And, you know, our pre-plans told us basically that the building, because of its structural issues, because of the fact that it has been pretty much open to the weather, holes in the roofs, things like that, it was just too risky to put people in the building.
And since it's been closed for so long, do you have any idea if utilities were even connected to it?
No, sir. There wasn't like natural gas service to the building or electrical service. There was a small amount of electrical service to an office area right here, but none in the yellow brick building, which is on fire right now.
Well, we know it's been a long day for you. We appreciate the time out talking to us tonight. That's Ed Davis, the Fire Chief of the Hot Springs Fire Department. We bring in Channel 7's Maureen Glisovic now. We talked about the historical significance of this building, and you've been talking with some residents here in the Spa City tonight, and many of them are really sad to see this hotel
many
go
are.
up.
I mean, I spoke to one woman whose grandfather helped build the Majestic back in its heyday, and it's amazing some of the reactions. People have just been really just speechless. The entire town just watching history going up in flames. Many are just hoping that this building can be salvaged, although many just aren't sure. Now, there are several departments out here, fire departments, Hot Springs, clearly, Lake Hamilton, you know, Fat Jack's over here. There's a business, Fat Jack's Oysters Bar and Grill. They've been bringing foods over to some of the fire crews and just kind of helping out. Like Scott had mentioned, some sections of this building had been boarded up just a few weeks ago, and as the crowd continues watching, some even speculate there may be asbestos in the air just because of how old this building is. But many just say the worst part of watching this is just history going up in flames.
The history major in college, and it kind of brings a tear to my eye to see such a historic building with so many historic faces that could pass through it just go down in flames.
This is a tragic day for us in Hot Springs. This is history right here. I'm just at a loss for words because ever since I was a little girl, I have driven by this place. It's been a part of our lives.
Scott Inman has been live there tonight, and we understand there's been a little bit of a flare-up again.
Yeah, I would say so, Christina. I'm going to back out of the frame here and let you take a look at the flames are getting a little bit higher there. We told you earlier that the roof had partially collapsed on the back wall, and you can kind of see that red glow on top of the building. But then right below that now, in one of the upper floors, you can see where flames are burning, clearly burning the ceiling in that one window. And earlier, the flames were really kissing up against that glass, and the firefighters had really directed a lot of the water right on that glass, and for the moment had saved that from being blown out. And then right after that, we saw a lot of gray smoke coming out of some of the windows in the upper floors as well. And now you really see the flames kicking up there on the top of the building. So obviously this is going to be a long night for firefighters here, and at least a half dozen to maybe even a dozen trucks on hand putting the water on top of it. They believe they have it contained from spreading, keeping it from spreading to other buildings, and and that's the good news, but it certainly looks like the old Majestic Hotel, which we're told is the oldest hotel in Hot Springs, is going to be a big loss.
The North Little Rock High School football team involved in a bus accident this afternoon on Interstate 40 in North Little Rock. The good news, some minor injuries, but no students were hurt in that accident. Hello and thanks for watching Live at 5. I'm Scott Inman.
And I'm Janelle Lilly. Aaron has the night off. The accident happened shortly after 4. Channel 7's Jordan Bonnke is live on the scene right now with the latest. Jordan?
Well, Scott and Aaron, I'm at I-40 eastbound right now, just underneath the JFK Bridge, where there was a North Little Rock school bus involved in an accident involving multiple cars. And beside me right now is Kelly Rogers with the superintendent of North Little Rock. Kind of tell me what happened here.
Well, briefly, what happened was we got information about 30 minutes ago that we had a bus that was in an accident just behind our office here at the exchange of I-30 and I-40. We came up on the accident immediately. Our first response was to find out how the students are, how the staff, how they are, and once we've had contacted the students and nurses and people that checked them out, our students are all right. That's the most important thing. Students and our staff are okay. Basically, what I know, and it's mostly secondhand, is the buses came up on an accident. They were on the way for their pregame meal, and they realized that they came up with an accident quickly. One of the buses veered off the road and was able to stop off. The other bus was going down this embankment and ran through the woods here in between the interchange. Again, the most important thing is our students are all okay, and that's what we're out here to find out. We've put our students on other buses. We've taken them back to our Bellwood facility, where we'll be getting them food and having nurses and doctors check them out to make sure that they're okay.
And Mr. Rogers, you tell me that this bus kind of veered off the interstate here into these bushes that are over my left shoulder back here, and you actually went onto the bus. You went onto the bus and you kind of. I didn't
go on to this bus. I came through the woods here beside it. The students were already off the bus. They were standing on the side beside the.
And what was their mood when they were inside there?
They were. I could tell they were concerned. Let's get out of the way.
We'll step over here quickly. You can tell me you were saying their mood while they were on the bus.
They were fine. They really handled themselves very well through this whole situation. Actually, at one point, they asked me if they could pray, and they all kneeled and prayed, and just phenomenal kids.
Okay, good to hear. Well, we'll bring you more information as it becomes available, and for now, we'll send it back to you.
Jordan Bonnke live in North Little Rock as they pull that bus out of the median. Thanks very much.
We are briefly breaking into programming to bring you more on the capture of convicted murderer Timothy Buffington. He was captured this morning in Logan County near Boonville after a nearly 3-month search. Our Maureen Glisovic is in Logan County now. And Maureen, can you tell us where exactly authorities found Buffington?
What they have confirmed so far is that he was found near Boonville. They haven't released any more information. However, Arkansas State Police has confirmed to me as well that he is in custody right now, right here at the Boonville Police Department. For those of us just joining us again, Timothy Buffington, the prison escapee from the Pine Bluff Prison Unit, has been captured today. He's been gone since June 21st. That's when he was working on the prison grounds and escaped. He's been a trustee since 2003, which allowed him to work on the prison grounds. The last sighting of him was that day about 20 minutes later. But he was serving a 20-year life sentence, or 20-year sentence rather, for killing his ex-wife back in 1998. He was due to be released in July 2018. Again, Timothy Buffington has been captured. All that we can confirm at this point is that it was near Boonville.
An Arkansas woman elects to spend tens of thousands of dollars for a surgery after her insurance company refuses to pay for it. Channel 7's Jason Peterson joins us with a look at a situation that has been frustrating for both the patient and the doctor.
Yeah, it has. And if Sunny Ackley would agree to endure another open heart surgery, her insurance company would pay for it. Medical research has created, though, a cheaper, less invasive option that is now available in Arkansas. But Sunny's insurance company says it's not an option for her. 2 weeks after surgery, Sunny Ackley is already feeling like her old self.
That next day when I got home, I could automatically feel a difference in my body. I told my mom it felt like my skin was crawling because I had all this new energy that I hadn't had in so long.
Sunny was born with a defective heart. She had her first heart surgery shortly after birth. Her second was at age 12, and her new pulmonary valve, taken from a cow, performed well for over a decade. But several years ago, she noticed a drop in energy. Last year, she wasn't able to play softball for the first time since preschool. another surgery was going to be necessary.
These artificial valves just aren't meant to last forever. And so Sunny had reached a point where her pulmonary valve that was in place was no longer functional for her.
I've already had 2 open heart surgeries, so there was a lot of risk going back in and cutting me back open because of all the scar tissue and just the risk of open heart surgery is, I mean, it's a big procedure.
I'll see you in a couple hours.
I'll be there.
6 months ago, Arkansas Children's Hospital performed a new procedure on a heart patient called a melody valve replacement.
So this is what we're talking about. This is a melody valve here. It's a cow valve. It's mounted inside of a stent, this little wire mesh cage here.
The device enters through an artery in the leg and is guided by cameras up to the patient's heart. This is video from Sunny's surgery. Dr. Antuaco uses video monitors to get the melody valve in place before it is inflated and the catheter is removed.
So most patients, I think, would choose to go the less invasive route, even if it would cost them more. But with it costing actually less and being less invasive, I think there's a clear advantage to this approach for the patients who qualify for it.
According to Sunny's insurance company, she does not qualify for it, or at least United Healthcare wasn't willing to pay for it. One of several denial letters states that there is not enough medical evidence that the valve replacement device is helpful to improve your valve disorder. So this valve replacement device is not proven to help your condition.
It's easy to say, well, this is an experimental thing. This is not experimental. This is an approved device. This is an approved use for it by the FDA.
Dr. Antuaco says he has performed the surgery 8 times, and Sunny's is the only case where insurance did not cover the procedure.
So it's been a frustrating process, I think, for all of us, because we would have liked to have had this approved for Sunny. She just wouldn't have to go through the process of fundraising and paying for this out of pocket.
It's frustrating when you pay in each month. I pay my premiums, I pay my deductibles, and then I can't use my insurance. I just don't think that's fair.
Now, Sunny and her family had to put $12,000 down and are now working to raise the rest of the $69,000 that her surgery cost. Now, late today, we did receive a written statement from United Healthcare after Sunny signed a waiver allowing the company to discuss her case. It states in part that her benefit plan excludes experimental or unproven services and that the melody valve falls into that category because there is only limited published evidence of safety and long-term effectiveness. You can read United Healthcare's entire statement later this evening by clicking on this story at KATV.com. Now, Sunny says she and 7 others here in Arkansas are living proof that this procedure works, and she hopes that other heart patients in the future will be covered by this insurance company and others.
And as the doctor said, it's FDA approved.
That's right.
Yeah, frustrating. All right, thanks, Jason.
Well, does it seem like you're seeing fewer bees when spending time outside? You might not even have noticed, or you might be thinking that's a good thing because sometimes they can be considered a nuisance. But in the world of agriculture, they're a necessity and one that's being wiped out at alarming rates. Some people are taking it upon themselves to help the honeybee.
Honeybees now in danger of disappearing.
Catastrophe for American farmers. Millions of bees are dying.
Bees are simply disappearing.
TV news reports, newspaper articles, and feature-length documentaries all focused on the plight of the honeybee. Bees even made the cover of Time magazine. Unfortunately, most of the buzz is negative, a die-off of massive proportions. United States Department of Agriculture researchers estimate nearly 1/3 of managed colonies in the U.S. were lost during the winter of 2012. The culprit is called CCD, or colony collapse disorder.
It's a phenomenon where a lot of bees die off suddenly, and it doesn't have one specific cause.
Why all of the attention? According to the Natural Resources Defense Council, bees pollinate over 100 types of crops worth over $15 billion and produce over $150 million of honey in the U.S. annually. In Arkansas, all you have to do to see the importance of the honeybee is to visit a local farmer's market. Melons, blueberries, peaches, and squash, just a few of the crops that rely on the bee. But while most of the national attention is on the bee's decline, here in the natural state, not all of the news is bad.
It has not affected beekeepers in Arkansas quite as much as it has in other places. It hasn't really hit the hobbyist beekeepers quite as hard.
John Zavishlak is the honeybee specialist for the University of Arkansas Cooperative Extension Service. He says all of the added publicity has had another positive effect.
All the extra media attention on the decline of honeybees has certainly made people maybe more aware of bees. It's focused attention on honeybees in particular as something that you can add to your backyard.
And that's exactly what's happening. More and more Arkansans are adding bees to their backyards and gardens.
I've always been fascinated by bees.
Carla Hazelwood lives in West Little Rock and is relatively new to beekeeping. After taking a beginner's class a few months ago, she decided to introduce 2 hives to her other backyard residents.
I also have chickens, and they're so low maintenance, and yet they're very productive. They give me eggs, and then the bees are productive and give me honey, and yet I don't have to be on top of them all the time, and I don't have to have 10 acres to have beehives.
Steve Turner of Cabot started out adding hives to benefit his garden and trees, but now has taken it a step further and started extracting swarms from the area and adding them to his inventory.
First spring we started with a couple of hives, and that first summer I think we grew to 7, and then the next year we went to 18, and I think we're at 50 now. It started out as a hobby, and we just ended up liking it so much that we just go and see where it takes us.
The beekeeping craze has even hit the governor's mansion. First Lady Ginger Beebe recently added these hives so they can make their own honey.
We had a group of bees who made their home in the pergola, which is in the parterre garden. And we had to get a beekeeper to come and get them out. And we received so much honey from that one hive, and it made us start thinking that we could do this here. And in April, we got our first bees.
She says the bees have been a welcome addition to the gardens at the governor's mansion and hopes they help raise awareness about beekeeping. She did have some concerns initially about the bees and how they might affect tours at the mansion, but she says it hasn't been an issue.
They're not in their space, and the bees are busy. They're working. So we haven't had any negative effects from having the bees. I think it's kind of piqued everyone's interest that we have them here and they can have them in their own backyard. And it's just so interesting. I think we can all learn a lot from bees if we really study them.
We're going to saw back and forth. Studying bees and getting children interested in beekeeping was the goal at the Hillary Clinton Library last week. Many kids are scared of bees.
Okay, you can let go now.
And learning about them helps ease those fears. And the fresh honey with their biscuits doesn't hurt either. This grassroots approach, combined with the rise in beekeeping popularity, seems destined to keep the bees' future from going up in smoke.
President Obama created a task force just last month to address the issue of rapidly diminishing honeybees and other pollinators, spearheaded by the EPA and the Department of Agriculture. So it's a serious issue.
Yeah, I love the First Lady's response, though. When you talk about worried about a bee stinging you, the bees are busy.
They are.
They're working.
You know, I was terrified of bees when I was a kid, but I have a whole new respect for them after doing this.
Yeah, there's nothing like local honey.
That's
There's
true.
no question about it.
It is a sport that focuses highly on technique and outsmarting your opponent. Now, even though it's anything but elegant, that's not keeping some young ladies in Little Rock from sticking it to the guys. Channel 7's Justin Lewis is here to tell us how wrestling at an area high school is gaining attention from some female students.
Girls wrestling is picking up across the state if you ask local coaches, but it's not quite to the point where there are enough girls to wrestle each other on a weekly basis. So what does that mean? Well, in order to compete, these young ladies are going up against the guys. Go. It takes repetitive coaching. Come up, come up, come up. Combined with attention to technique and detail that may rival a bridge builder. Go.
You know, what I'm looking for of all of them is, do they go out and compete? And they compete hard the entire match? And the answer to that question has always been yes. That's it. That's it. Separate.
Sean Hickey is the volunteer head coach of Little Rock Central High's wrestling team. He could probably refer to his whole team in that last soundbite, but right now he's focusing on 3 unique athletes on the squad, and they all happen to be girls.
I think I'm a girly girl. I wear dresses a lot, and I'm not that manly.
But according to junior Kiara Sewell, when they get on that mat, things change.
Outside, you know, girly girl, you know, proper or whatever. Out here, get like them, fight like a dog.
She's referring to wrestling against the boys. Since there aren't enough girl wrestlers in the state, and wrestling is a sport where you evenly match up by weight class, these girls are going up against the guys from opposing schools. And like junior Misty Kirkpatrick, even winning.
It might be a little bit have messed with their ego a little bit just because I'm a female, but the crowd goes wild.
Seeing all the dedication and hard work pay off by beating a male opponent is something senior Kim Watkins said she'll always remember.
I seriously was like so mind blown. I didn't even know where to go. Like, they told me to go this way and I was going the opposite way. Like, I was just like, what the heck?
After excelling in other sports and activities like basketball, ballet, and school clubs, the three girls at Little Rock Central look to wrestling as a new challenge in life. One of them offering this advice to other teenage ladies thinking of branching out in athletics.
Of course, it's going to be hard. What sport isn't going to be hard, you know, but it's simple. Just like they're learning, anybody can learn it, and just keep your head held high and just go for it.
As a former wrestler and avid fan of the sport, Coach Hickey adds that these few girls could spark a new generation for women's wrestling right here in the Natural State.
They wrestle a national wrestling championships for women in college, where it's females competing against females. So I think the next logical step is for there to be a high school state championship for all girls, and I really hope it gets there.
Our neighboring state of Texas already has a state championship in wrestling for girl athletics only. And since wrestling is weight class based, Coach Hickey said his team expects the same kind of effort and hard work from both males and females. And it looks like these three ladies are certainly giving their all.
A confirmed tornado with reports of damage.
Major damage with homes, cars.
A lot of people are just trying to get in touch with their loved ones.
Faulkner County and move it up possibly close to Valonia.
This is Channel 7 News Nightside.
Take the tornado precautions right now.
There are at least 6 fatalities confirmed in Faulkner County, at least 3 confirmed in Pulaski County from these deadly storms across the state tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Erin Hawley. It has been a dangerous night across central Arkansas. Storms are still threatening parts of the state, so we want to go straight to our weather team who's watching the threatening weather.
Yeah, Aaron, the good news right now, I think the worst is over with for much of the Channel 7 viewing area. We still have 2 tornado warnings which are in effect, and the state continues to be blanketed with a tornado watch, which is in effect for most of us until 11 o'clock tonight. But we still have a couple of tornado warnings, Barry, on our volumetric radar that are just on the edge of our viewing area. It has been a devastating night, and these have the potential to still cause quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, we're still seeing a strong hail core on our VRAD radar. A smaller area from Salado to Newark is still now under a brand new tornado warning. Actually, it was just the back edge of it was trimmed off. And then there's another one on up into Lawrence County. But this is the southern extent. These storms that are on the southern edge, like the one that went through southern Arkansas, or central Arkansas, are the ones that we have to watch. And so all the way from Salado, across the highway there, all the way to Newark, and on up into northern Jackson County eventually is where we're going to need to watch for tonight. Also getting reports now, this is the Entergy outage map, going all the way from western Pulaski County up through Mayflower, through Faulkner County and Valonia, and on up into the northeastern part of the state. Now we're getting reports, the summary says 15,000, that's the current, from Entergy without power because of this system that came through. But we're still monitoring that storm that's in Independence County.
Let's give you an overview of the state on our 5 live Doppler radars, because right now most of the state looks to be rain-free. So really the brunt of the severe weather has been over north central Arkansas, actually starting in central Arkansas and Saline and Pulaski County. And that's the storm that we've been tracking most of the nighttime hours, and the storm that has produced the vast majority of the damage and unfortunately fatalities there. This gives you a kind of an overview of the strongest storms right now from northern sections of Independence County all the way up into Lawrence County, sections of Sharp County. We'll turn on the warnings, the active warnings that we have right now. And for central sections of Independence County, we do have until 10:15 that warning as it tracks toward the Jackson County area. Also from extreme northern sections of Independence County all the way through Lawrence County, another tornado warning. This is tracking toward the north-northeast at about 40 miles an hour. It looks like it's going to move to the east of the Cherokee Village area, which is a populated retirement community. It is moving east of that. And then we have a brand new tornado warning that was just in effect, and this is for northern sections of Randolph County all the way up into Greene County, or Greene County into Clay County and eastern Randolph County. So that's the overview of what we've got going on right now as far as tornado warnings are concerned. And again, the rest of the state is in pretty good shape and hopefully will remain that way overnight. We are looking at a few strong storms along the Arkansas-Oklahoma border, but these are what we call linear and probably out just ahead of the dry line or cold front that'll be moving through tomorrow. And we could actually see some redevelopment of some strong to severe thunderstorms by tomorrow afternoon, especially over eastern Arkansas. I know back of your mind.
Here's the map on our weather graphics computer. The tornado watch, which is in effect for all the counties you see shaded in green, that includes going to get extended. But as of right now, Pulaski County and for much of southern Arkansas, this is a tornado watch for all these counties until 11 o'clock, so we got a little less than an hour to go. Different here for northern Arkansas, this is a tornado watch that goes until 2 o'clock in the morning. And it looks like this is for mainly areas around Fort Smith over towards Clinton northward. And then you see the areas that have active severe thunderstorm warnings, as Ned was showing you, with Sebastian, Crawford County until 11 o'clock, Franklin County until 11 o'clock. And then the tornado warnings, they're now getting out of the Channel 7 viewing area. Flash flooding has been an issue. Flash flood watch continues for much of central and northeastern Arkansas. Flash flood warnings for White County until 1 o'clock in the morning, Cleburne County, Independence County, and that extends into northern portions of Arkansas. Again, that is until 1 o'clock in the morning, and you know it can cause a lot of damage, potential loss of life too when we're talking about flash flooding. So turn around, don't drown. That's what the National Weather Service says. Just to give you a forecast, the rain and thunderstorms coming to an end tonight. South winds strong, 64 degrees, and then tomorrow will be less active than today. But if there is any activity tomorrow, it's going to be across eastern Arkansas. And
we just got new information in.
Yeah.
This is from the Storm Prediction Center. And it says that a new tornado watch is likely going to be issued prior to 11 o'clock for much of Arkansas, west and central, because the main system, the thing that sparked all of this, is still back to the west. That boundary layer that's back to the west, and the front is sort of catching up with what we call a dry line. And so watch out for the possibility of a watch to be issued tonight before 11 o'clock. This is just in from the Storm Prediction Center.
And this is going to blanket parts of central and western Arkansas, especially. It looks like that will go into the wee hours of the morning.
Yeah.
And again, but right now that line of thunderstorms looks like it is, it's a line, and it's not showing any of those supercellular characteristics that we saw earlier tonight with that huge storm that blasted through western Pulaski County and through Mayflower and Bologna.
And we'll continue to be here to watch that unfold, and we're going to go back to Erin right now, and she's got some more news developing of all of the situations that have been occurring and are ongoing in the state. Erin?
Okay, guys, we'll continue to check in with you. Bologna was one of the towns directly in the storm's path, and we're told a triage center has been set up there. That's why where we find Channel 7's Jordan Bontke. Jordan, what can you tell us?
Well, I can't tell you much right now, but what I can is I can describe to you of what I'm around. Right over my left shoulder here is the triage center at the Valero. What I saw earlier, and I cannot confirm any fatalities, is I did see what appeared like feet that were outside of sheets. I've reached out to several people, and I've been shooed away trying to ask to see if there has been any fatalities, and they can't confirm any here. That being said, it looks like the town has been, some parts of it have been completely leveled. Again, over my left shoulder, I don't know if you can make it out, but there is a power line that's completely down. That has affected 107 and 64, and that's the intersection that's just over here to the left of me. The power completely out. A lot of the families that are being affected by this are gathering over here. With that, I asked if this town needed anything. Bologna, they've gone through this about 3 years ago. A lot of people were reminded about it. That being said, you know, they had said that some of the safe rooms that they were using that they've built since that three-year anniversary, which I believe is around this time right here towards the end of April and now in May. But one thing they did relay to me is that they're trying their best to get first aid to these people, and it seems like a lot of people are hurt. I did speak with a public information officer who did tell me that in Bologna there is an incident command center at the fire station here, just right behind the McDonald's McDonald's in the Valero. There's also at the Mayflower School gym, they're accepting people who are in need of first aid. And there's also a shelter at the Antioch Church in Conway. Again, we're trying our absolute best to get as much information out as possible so that we can get that on to you. And right now, I think the one thing this town needs is a lot of prayer. Aaron?
I would agree. All right, we are hoping for the best for those folks and, of course, everyone affected. Let's go ahead and go back over to Todd in the Weather Center. Todd.
Aaron, as you know, we have photojournalist and storm chaser Brian Enfinger here, and he has his drone. You've seen this video so many times here on Channel 7 News and on social media as well. And take a look at this. This is just to show you, this is unreal. I-40 on the left. This is Mayflower, and you see just the large path. You see people running through that damage right now. And this was earlier, but you see the people running through, probably trying to find things, find people. And the amazing thing to me, obviously you see what the tornado did. It just blew it. I think this is an RV park. It just blew cars. It blew semis off the road. You see people, if you look in the corner, in the bottom of your screen there, you can see people actually going through the wreckage. I guess it's hard for me to tell. That may be a semi. But I think he's zooming in there just a little bit with flashlights. I think I even see a dog, but they're going through the wreckage and probably trying to find people, and the person there on the right running, and they're trying to, who knows what they're trying to do, but they're finding loved ones or friends or family through this wreckage. A search and rescue continues in this area as they continue to search through the rubble. And look at all the semis that have been blown over. There's an RV park that apparently sustained a lot of damage. The path of this is just incredible. It's enormous. This is what we call a wedge tornado, where it's wider than it is tall, and that means it's a wedge tornado, at least 300-400 yards wide the way it looks right here. The other thing is, here in springtime in Arkansas, all the trees have their leaves on them now, and you can see they're completely stripped of all of their leaves and the foliage that had developed in the spring season. Then that just is a testament to the violent nature of this wedge tornado. What will it be rated? As if that's a point we see the damage, but right now what we know is that the National Weather Service is going to go and survey that damage. And what they're thinking right now is that it wasn't on the ground, that supercell thunderstorm tracked for more than 80 miles, but they don't think that it produced an 80-mile-long tornado. It probably produced multiple tornadoes, a very long-tracked one here in central Arkansas, but at some point it may have lifted off the ground a couple of times, so it'll be counted as numerous tornadoes. But gauging from that damage, it's at least EF2, maybe EF3, and possibly even into the EF4 category, where we do have reports of multiple fatalities and injuries in that area. And the National Weather Service will survey it, but it's going to take probably tomorrow morning at sunrise, where they can go there and get a better scope of the damage. And let me tell you, there's a lot of damage that they're going to have to go through, so it may be a while before we know the full scope of how powerful that tornado was. Aaron? And the damage you can see from that video is really just incredible. Mayflower is one of those towns that we've been showing you pictures from our viewers all evening, pictures and video showing the devastation that's happened there. Maureen Glisovic is there and has been talking to a resident there about what happened. Maureen.
Well, Aaron, here I have Andrew Mosley with me, who actually took cover as soon as he started getting the warnings. Now, Andrew, as soon as you heard the warnings, what was your immediate thought or reaction to do?
It really shook me up, because I'd been watching the Weather Channel pretty well all day, and I knew this thing was coming, but I didn't have no idea it was this close up on us. And with my phone, I got an emergency alert signal and a text message saying that it was coming. It was close to us, and it said, take cover. And by that time, it came on the Weather Channel on TV, said we need to take cover because it's in the Mayflower area. So,
where did you take cover? You went to your brother-in-law's house, right?
Yeah, I got my wife, and we took off to my brother-in-law's house, which is probably about a half a mile from here. And we was down in the basement, and when we went to his basement, we could go to the back door and see it when it came over through the back of the house. And it was just, it was awesome. It was, scary looking. Now, what were you, power lines? Well, it's a lot of damage at my house, which is probably about half a block from here. And we finally got back up to the house, and I could get in my driveway, but that's as far as I could get because there's a big tree up there about 3 feet in diameter. It snapped it off, across the yard and around. I don't want to go in there at night with those power lines down.
Absolutely. Have you talked to anyone? Do you know when you're going to be able to get back in your home? Or
No, I hadn't talked to anyone yet about that because the officials, they've been so busy out here that I didn't want to bother them and let them do what they had to do. So, but I'm hopeful that we can get back in there probably sometime tomorrow. There's still going to be a lot of trees and stuff down there that got to be cleared.
But you guys were all you managed to stay safe and everybody was okay with you guys?
Yeah, we managed to be safe. We went to my brother-in-law's house and went in his basement, and that was the main thing, to get away from it.
How crazy was it when you opened that back door and saw that tornado coming through?
It was weird looking at it. I've seen one before, but I've never seen one like this one. It looked like it was probably about a mile wide. I mean, it just sweeping down like a big, what they call a wall cloud. It looked awful going. It was going northwest, going up towards Valonia, up in that area, and I was scared of it.
I'm sure you will. Well, we're so glad that you're safe. Thank you so much for joining us again. And Aaron, you know, we managed to get some more footage up the ways here into Mayflower. I mean, houses are completely flattened. I know that there's a business down there. The roof is torn off. Across that business, I believe it was the Lumber One, or what used to be part of the Lumber One. Across from it, actually, a man and his wife had to duck down under a table. The entire front wall of their home just completely came tumbling down. There's a lot of flattened homes out that way in Mayflower, and like you said, a lot of fatalities are coming through for Pulaski County as well as Faulkner County here, so we're going to continue to stay here. I know that they were trying to manage the gas leak. Now they finally managed to get some type of base for authorities to actually get together, because a lot of these different departments and a lot of different authorities that are responding are on different radio wave channels there, so they're all kind of trying to assess the situation at this point and check out all the damage. But of course, we're going to continue to cover this and bring you the latest as this continues. I'll go ahead and send it back to you.
Maureen, those accounts we're hearing are really just chilling, and to help those who have been affected, we are now activating the Channel 7 Arkansas tornado relief drive along with the Red Cross. Anyone in the community who wants to give by credit card to help the tornado victims with their immediate needs can do so at KATV.com. Just look for the banner on the homepage, and you can select the option called Disaster Relief when you get to the Red Cross donation page. And all day Wednesday, we will have a telethon with volunteers here to answer phone calls for monetary donations. And if you'd like to call the Red Cross, their number is, of course, 1-800-RED-CROSS. Let's send it back over to the Weather Center now for an update, guys.
Okay, we've been keeping an eye on these storms, Aaron, and right now the severe threat is continuing across the state, but the only places experiencing severe weather is northeastern Arkansas. Numerous severe thunderstorm warnings now just now getting issued in western Arkansas, and that's the one where the National Weather, or rather the Storm Prediction Center, is going to be issuing a new tornado watch, which will blanket much of the state once again all the way through the night. But right now it's just producing severe thunderstorms.
Well, all right, we're going to go to Scott Inman. Is he here? By the way, as that line moves in, it's probably going to remain a line most of the evening and most of the overnight hours. So it's questionable whether we're going to have an outbreak of tornadoes like we had earlier today. But just to play it safe, I think this Storm Prediction Center more than likely will issue this new watch tonight.
Exactly.
And Scott is, we're going to throw it to Scott. Is he available?
Okay, is he there? Okay, we'll get back to him as soon as we can. But just to give you an update, our 5 live Doppler radars on the latest watches and actually the warnings which are in effect. It looks like Lawrence County has a tornado warning in effect, and far northeastern Arkansas, which is now
in Clay County.
Yeah, Clay County getting tornado warnings. But the new line of thunderstorms that's fired off of what we call the dry line, the separation between the dry air from the west and the very humid air coming from the Gulf of Mexico, has fired off more thunderstorms, and numerous severe thunderstorm warnings are now in effect for Scott County. This is also into effect for Sebastian, Crawford, on up into Logan, Franklin County, and into northwestern Arkansas. And this is going to affect, it looks like this is going to build across the northern half of the state. Now we have Scott Inman. Go ahead, Scott, where are you? What do you have?
Well, I'm here in Bologna, guys, and it's just been another awful night in central Arkansas. It's hard to believe that we're in Bologna again, very reminiscent of when it happened before, but we're right here in the heart of town at the corner of 64B and Highway 107. 107, of course, going back down into Little Rock, and 64 is the highway that goes right between BB and Conway, and Bologna right in the middle. And it's a very somewhat chaotic scene. Of course, the emergency personnel, and there are a lot of them, have things under control. There are dozens of fire trucks, sheriff's department vehicles, and police officers here working the scene. There is a triage behind me here set up at what is the Valero gas station and a McDonald's, and then the Fred's Pharmacy right over here to my right, where the command center is set up. And obviously, this has been a very massive tornado that has struck. We cannot get to, nor can we see a lot of the damage right now. It's going to take tomorrow morning before we really know the extent of the damage, because we'll need sunlight to see it. I've seen helicopters overhead, cars racing back and forth. It's obviously not confined to just this one area. I want to bring in Jordan Bonnke. Jordan, of course, has been covering this, and he's been getting the latest information for us, Jordan.
Yeah, well, you know, when we got out here earlier, they were very strict with what they wanted to tell us. Yeah. But I did just get off the phone with David Hogue, and some very sad information in Arkansas today, and that's that there's been 3 confirmed deaths. That's 2 in Valonia and 1 in Mayflower. He also told me that these are reported deaths, unconfirmed. That's 9 more reported deaths, 8 in Mailer and 1 more in Valonia. So it looks like the damage is just colossal out here, and it's really affecting a lot of families.
Yeah. Okay. Jordan, thanks very much. I know you're going to get some more information. We'll be out here the remainder of the hour. We can remind you that we will be on until 11 o'clock with the latest news information, as well as I know Ned and Barry and Todd are keeping you updated on what's going there. And guys, really just strikes me as we send it back to you, you know, it wasn't an outbreak that did this. This was one monster storm that just started way back on the south side of the Arkansas River, hit Mayflower, hit Valonia on its way up into northeast Arkansas. And it looks right now that Faulkner County is the hardest hit tonight in central Arkansas. We'll send it back to you.
Scott, a really heartbreaking, almost unbelievable night here in central Arkansas. We'll be right back.
Channel 7 News Nightside, brought to you by Everett Buick GMC and by Havner Law Firm. Skycams, sponsored by Middleton Heat and Air.
Welcome back. We have new reports coming in about damage from the storms. Alicia Dover joins us from Pulaski County on Canis Road. Alicia.
Aaron, Faulkner County, of course, feeling so much of this storm damage tonight, but right here in Pulaski County, there is also a lot of damage as well. As you can see right here behind me, power lines just completely down. A lot of the damage, crews are already coming in trying to clean up. Just to give you an idea of how strong these winds were, this is a road sign right here, just completely bent in half. It is really unbelievable, the scene right here, but it's also just a tiny, tiny part of the damage. The worst of it is actually right down the road here, where we have unfortunately heard that there are 3 fatalities that have been confirmed here in Pulaski County. I'm right here on the Pulaski-Saline County line, and both sheriff's offices are working very hard out here to go home to home, checking each one of these houses to make sure there are no more fatalities. Of course, they are hoping not to find any more, but I have heard that there are trees on multiple houses, and they are just working throughout the night to try to get into these homes and make sure there is no one else. Now, I'm going to go ahead and bring in Pulaski County Sheriff here, Doc Holliday. Doc, thank you so much for joining us. Just want to ask a little bit about what crews are doing right now.
Right now we're going through the damaged homes, trying to make sure that they are all clear. We're trying to make sure that we locate anyone who lived in this neighborhood and make sure they're all right. We do know that we have multiple fatalities, and we want to make sure that we clear all of the houses, and so that if there are other fatalities, we'll be able to find those. But right now it's a door-to-door process. We have multiple units from the Sheriff's Department, the West Pulaski Volunteer Fire Department, OEM from Pulaski County, and we're doing door-to-door searches.
And I understand, I've seen a lot of people out here just walking down the road. Some people just don't have a place to go. Is there a place for people to go out here?
Well, we are going to open up a relief center in Ferndale. I think it's going to be at Fern Cliff, just south of the four-way. One thing I do want to say is we have blocked off this road from the Saline County side and at the four-way at Ferndale. And if you don't live out here, you have no business trying to come and just see the sights. This is all for emergency personnel and people who live here, and we'll try our best to get them to their homes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I know you guys have a lot of work to do, and I'll let you go ahead and get back to that. Aaron, of course, there is still so much searching to be done out here, and we will, of course, have the very latest later on in the evening and, of course, on Daybreak. Back to you.
Alicia, thank you. And, of course, folks out that way and across central Arkansas affected by power outages as well right now. Let's go back over to the Weather Center for the latest on those numbers, guys.
Yeah, we're getting big numbers in from Entergy and from the electric co-ops of Arkansas, and I'm looking just at the latest summary here.
And you can see exactly kind of the track of
the
storm.
Yes, nearly 15,000 out in the Entergy network and about 10,000 on the electric co-op. So this is 25,000 folks without power tonight, or customers without power, affecting a lot more people than that. But if you can see the area that we're looking at out in the western part of Pulaski County, south of Lake Maumelle, and then that area on the north side of Lake Maumelle, the Waterview subdivision, then over into River Plantation, 2,200 power outages there, and in Mayflower, on the around Lake Conway, 2,600 there. A number more just to the south of there, north of Camp Robinson, 1,400, and then on up into the Valonia area, and we have, 1,200 outages there as well.
You can really tell the width of the track, because that also is probably a little wider there than what the actual width of the tornado.
Right.
But you can get a good idea of the scope of how wide this tornado was when it touched down. We saw it developing in Garland County, but then it put down that tornado, the first tornado in western Pulaski County near Ferndale, the Ferndale-Congo intersection right in that area. And then it moved again up towards the Pinnacle Mountain area, right across in the Mayflower. Look how wide it is, and just missed Conway to the south. And then it lifted up off the ground, apparently, and then sat back down on the ground a little bit further along. So you can see it was on the ground continuously for quite some time, and then tracked into northeastern Arkansas. And we have actual video and pictures of the tornado, Barry.
Yeah, we have. I'm going to go through all the pictures that I've taken off of social media and I've saved here, and we're going to be portraying them up here. But if you look here, this is an area around Mayflower, and you can see just the width of this storm as it was out into the western part of the county, and then some devastation around the Mayflower area there. Just a horrible, horrible scene. This one taken from Maumelle, and this is looking northwest toward Mayflower, and even though it's at a distance, it's such a large, large storm. We're also getting other photos in of just the scope of how large this supercell was. This was a storm chaser vehicle in Mayflower, an area around the River Plantation area. A lot of houses just devastated there. Again, that picture of that chaser vehicle. And this, too, a picture of the tornado itself, and then another little vortex around it. So some of these could have been very well multiple vortex ones. This one is maybe the most prolific shot that I see, looking across the river, very near that River Plantation subdivision. So wide was this wedge tornado as it came on down. And that's why I think there's going to be such strong damage and such wide path of damage as we take a look at this. But we're starting to get a lot more of those pictures in. If you have video or tornado pictures, still images, you can upload them via Twitter or Facebook. I'm at KATV Barry, at KATV_weather. You can send those to, or to our email address, photo@katv.com, and we'll have a lot more of those to pass along to you. Don't endanger yourself, though, to send those to us. Todd and Ned.
It's amazing when you look at the power outages that Todd was showing you just a few moments ago. You can see what Barry was talking about, how wide the damage path may be from the storm. And also, it's going to take a very long time probably to get a lot of people's power back.
We know the minimum track, the length of time, again, all that damage came from one storm. And we know that it was that storm tracked a minimum of 80 miles and probably well over 100 miles from where it started in Garland County and went up into northeastern Arkansas. And again, the way the Weather Service does this, they're going to look at this and it's going to have multiple tornadoes, even though it just came from one storm. But it touched down and stayed on the ground for quite some time in Pulaski and Faulkner and White County. It came up off the ground and will be counted multiple times.
And the good news right now, Todd, is for the first time since 7 o'clock tonight, we have no tornado warnings in effect.
That's right.
So the worst is over for now. There are some thunderstorms coming into western Arkansas that may march across north central Arkansas overnight.
We're going to have more here from the Weather Center on the forecast in just a few minutes, but we need to send it to Aaron.
All right, guys, thank you. And we will have the latest reports in just a minute when we come back.